What's up, people? This is the Reprimanded Podcast, Episode 3. I myself am Zach, also known as Me16. And today we've got James, also known as Mr. Westwood, Kempy, Ben, and Pug, also known as Bryce. We are going to be jumping in to Endgame as our first topic. So I'm sure a lot of us are looking forward to Endgame, except Bryce, because he's broke and silly.
What can I say?
But Westwood, James, and I. Did I really just do that? I meant Ben, James, and I are, jeez. It's already started on a poor leg, man. I can't think straight. Been doing this for so long.
I know.
So, it's Ben, James, and I are all premium members, so that means we're going to be getting Endgame 2 weeks early, and of course we will be getting it. I know the three of us have talked a little bit about Endgame, and I believe we're all looking forward to it. It's got some stuff that might be pretty fun, and the chance of new, better maps is definitely something that I'm sure everybody wants. So, real quick, what are you guys looking forward to in Endgame?
Mainly the motorcycles, really. I really enjoyed the quad bikes in Armored Kill, so I can imagine these just being just as good as them, if not even better, I suppose.
Yeah.
I won't be able to place any input on this.
Well,
when I'm reading it, it looks like the dropship looks pretty neat.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that in just a minute.
The dropship. Yeah.
Ben, what do you think?
I'm just looking forward to having high-speed chases.
We all
See
know
if
how
they
well that
actually
goes on consoles, right?
Yeah. Especially when you drive.
It's like, there's nothing better than fucking motorbike on motorbike, riding up the side of a mountain, jumping, and boom, it hits a helicopter in C4. in reality, you just see that shit left at the spawn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the motorcycles, I think they'll be cool. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most is the dropship that Bryce mentioned. It's, from what I know, the dropship is an air vehicle that will be able to deploy troops and vehicles themselves on the map. I don't know what kind of vehicles necessarily. Bryce, Kempy, James, if any of you guys know.
Probably
What kind of
I would
vehicles they
assume light vehicles, like maybe a Humvee
That's what I was thinking.
or
as
like
well.
a APC, but not maybe so much like a main battle tank.
Exactly. That's my
Yeah.
best assumption.
I've
Yeah.
read on this website, it's saying unknown, but it could be a light AA vehicle.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
That'd be fruity.
Like AA.
Yeah,
new-
isn't that a new
a new
vehicle in Endgame as well? Light
Yeah.
AA?
Anti-air vehicle coming in, looks like it.
That looks so weird. But I do know that I'm looking forward to Endgame for sure. We've got the dropship, which looks like it could add a weird aspect to the game. Something definitely cool. Motorcycles, and then the capture the flag, the new game mode. What do you guys think of bringing capture the flag in the battlefield?
I don't even remember the old one.
There wasn't.
Well, it says return to the classic capture the flag game mode. I don't know what the classic capture the flag is.
Well, it's a classic
Capture
game
the
mode in
flag.
many shooters, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, just capture the flag. There's not a lot of confusion to go along with it.
I had to get confused.
Coming from the guy who doesn't have premium.
Dude, I don't have the DLC either. Stupid.
But you don't have any.
But, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to capture the flag. I think it's a chance to get a cool new game mode, and with the motorcycles, it might be pretty sweet. Kempy, I remember you brought up a point about the motorcycles and capture the flag. What was that?
I'm trying to remember it now. Oh my. Give me a minute.
It's like, stupid.
I'll leave him alone.
Stupid.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry, the sport, what's going on? I don't know how to speech, the British.
Yeah.
It was something revolving around, like, if, you know, the motorbikes are faster or harder
Oh, yeah.
to catch than
Yeah,
quad
yeah.
bikes, and you can ride them, capture
Yep.
the flag might, you know, be just sort
Be
of a
lopsided.
motorcycle race.
Yeah.
the only way would be helis. Or, I don't know, RPG.
Yeah, and at a certain speed, it's really hard for a heli to catch a quad bike. You know, like,
Yeah.
technically speaking, a quad bike at max speed is faster than a little bird. But, I mean, obviously can fly over stuff, so...
Yeah, cut corners and stuff.
Exactly.
I might just have to become a premium member after all.
About time.
It's a little late.
Yeah,
Hey, Bill,
a bit late.
Silly. But, but besides the actual, gameplay, I'm looking forward to getting some new maps. The chance to get some maps that are better than we've seen yet is definitely appealing to me. I feel like with the current maps we've got, the base maps are the best maps. I mean, the DLC has been cool and all, and Close Quarters added some sweet guns. Armored Kill kind of added, a few weeks of fun, and you can go and fly around in some jets, do what you want to do vehicle-wise. It's not really meant for console, though, and it's a little
disappointing.
Aftermath is alright. I don't mind playing Aftermath. But
Aftermath is probably the best expansion pack, I think.
I think
Oh,
Karkin.
I think Karkin, yeah.
Yeah, Karkin is my favorite just because I got it for free, technically, and...
yeah. Yeah, me too.
Hold on, Pug, did you get Karkin?
I do.
Probably
That's one of the ones I do have.
I mean, the only one you do have. I was about to say.
Hey, if you guys want to talk about Karkin, I'll be able to throw my input in on that.
So, yeah, about Karkin. I was really interested by the FAMAS. Too bad it got patched. Was that like a year ago? Yeah. So.
Such an ass.
I'm looking forward to getting the new maps. But, so far I felt that the maps we've been given really aren't that good, or at the very least they haven't been played much. For some reason, at least on console, people just drop these new map packs like nothing. I don't...
Yeah, they go quickly, don't they? They lose their reproducibility. Or
Reproducibility. Indeed.
Well, you can't, produce, the same gameplay on it, if you know what I mean. You can't keep playing it over and over again. It just gets too repetitive, and you end up going back to the base game.
Exactly. No, you don't even end up going back to the base game. You end up going back to Metro Sen Bazaar 24/7 500% ticket conquest.
Basically.
Where it's just grind
That's
fest.
basically it.
Well, Zach, like we were talking about last night, I would like to see some more destruction maps.
Yeah.
With a lot more ability to destruct buildings than just one or two throughout an entire map.
Exactly.
I think that'd be neat to see in some endgame.
I don't think they'll do that.
Almost like back in, like we were saying, back in Battlefield, Bad Company 2.
Yeah, I know.
Where you can literally level a whole town.
Yeah, me and Bryce last night, actually, were talking about, we were kind of doing a little, and you know what, this might be a good topic right after we're done here. So I'll touch on that later, but the destruction of Bad Company 2 we thought was, very good. We thought, it was, like you said, almost whole towns could be leveled. You get on a map, and I'd say 9 out of the 10 buildings on the map, or even more, would be destructible. They'd be able to completely come down, including ones holding the objective. And that was a tactical way to get rid of the objective, was to just bring down the building.
Mm.
So, if somebody's bringing a tank in, or you see a bunch of RPG guys, you'd go for them rather than, an assault or something like that. It gave you many ways to take care of the objective. But the destruction was great. And in Battlefield 3, I'm sure we all know it's really lacking.
Yeah.
It's really detailed, but the destruction itself isn't on a large scale.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
I never played Bad Company.
That's right. You were, what? You were born then,
Well.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't know, Kempy's actually a fetus. So.
I came out yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Yesterday? Just yesterday? Wow.
Yeah.
You have a pretty good KD for a 1-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
Right. That is really good.
I use my face.
Your face.
Your face.
My
Very
hands are too
talented
small.
there.
I suppose it's got no
Note
other
to
use,
self.
just if it's so ugly.
But I have to keep
Remove
jumping
Kempy
to look at the
from
TV.
Platoon
You know,
and Friendsless.
it's not very good looking.
because he's a baby.
Oh, can't be.
Okay. Well, I think, we're all looking forward to Endgame. There's a lot of cool stuff that'll be coming out. And, I'm excited. I think we all are, right? I mean, maybe even you too, Bryce. Hmm?
Yeah, I think I might have to go download Premium right now while we're doing the podcast.
Really?
Get it started. First, I got to make room on my 20 gigabyte hard drive, considering this game already takes up 10 gigabytes.
All right.
So
hold on.
I think
Maybe I should. Can I mute you real quick? Can I mute you real quick? No. I guess I'll have to tell James. Hey, James Kempy, did you remember how big that download was for Premium? Oh, that's right. Like 250 kilobytes? Yeah. Better go clear my hard drive.
That's it? 250 gigabytes?
No shit. You're not. I mean, Premium is small. It's the DLC that you have to download that takes all the downloading.
Yeah.
Oh, all the maps and stuff?
Yeah. You already have all of them, too. They're built into the patches.
Oh.
So, you already own Close Quarters, the AUG, and all that. That's why you can use them, They're already on your console.
Did you see that? You see that right there?
What?
Just learned something new again. First, I figured out how to use Skype. Now I know how to play Battlefield.
Oh, my God. You are an embarrassment.
Hey, I didn't invite myself to this podcast. That's all I'm saying.
No, did you invite yourself to birth either? I mean, intelligence, knowledge, school, criminal justice. Anyway, since Bryce brought it up, I think that might be a good point to go over. What do you guys think? Kempy, I'm sorry, you may not be able to get as involved, but what do you guys think is better, Bad Company 2 or Battlefield 3? This could just be a small little thing real quick. That was really fast, Kempy. Are you sure about that?
I've played Bad Company.
Alright, well, I'm just going to say it now. Kempy's a dumbass. Westwood, Bryce, what do you guys think?
I would have to go with half and half. I mean, Battlefield, Bad Company 2, I think they bring the better maps, but Battlefield 3 brings a better bit of a gameplay.
Yeah,
exactly. More of it feels like more like a military first person shooter than it does than Battlefield 2 did. But Battlefield 2 takes the crown with the maps.
I'll tell you what. I think real quick. I think Battlefield 3, although I like it, it went way more towards an actual FPS. I felt it went way more towards the fast action, and because I mean, even when you think about it, you get all people from other genres, and they're like, "Oh, it's so slow. The maps take miles." They're not that big. I mean, most of the maps that people actually play are big, yes, but they're small enough that you see action all the time, especially with the bigger teams than any other game. Most, at least. I find that Bad Company 2 was a bit more Battlefield, by definition.
Yeah.
I felt that it was, the maps were almost all of them were really great. I enjoyed playing all of them. They were a bit larger in scale. And I thought how you played with the kits was fit more to working as a team and playing tactically. I felt like that game was people who played a bit smarter or more creatively did better. I feel like in Battlefield 3, it's almost gotten to the point where it's just a twitch shooter.
Yeah.
So,
especially with the recon class in Bad Company 2. That was a good class compared to the recon we've got in Battlefield 3.
It's almost useless.
Yeah, for me, I hardly ever play recon in Battlefield 3 because I just can't see myself doing much for the team. Whereas in Bad Company 2, it was really helpful. No offense to you good recons out there.
Yeah. That's what I fucking thought. I don't know. When I play recon, I do feel like I help to a certain extent. Let me just touch on that. The reason I like recon and support a lot is because they're roles that people don't usually play as much, and I feel like they are good at certain things,
Motion sensors are huge.
And it's always really fun when somebody when I play a support or recon and somebody needs me, because I'm like, yes, I can, fill this role that nobody can right now. That's awesome. Because it's not like we need more assaults. You very rarely need more assaults. But you know what you might need? You might need somebody to take out that other sniper 100 meters down with a semi-auto. We might need somebody to get that support off his bipod on the corner. You know, and the recon kit, at least when I use it, I can take out, you know, quite a few people, especially the people at distance. You know, I can fill the role, a very small role that needs to be filled occasionally. But back on to Bad Company 2. I like Bad Company 2 better. I felt the destruction was on par. The maps were amazing. The gameplay I thought was a bit more fun. The vehicles I thought were, better used. I didn't feel like they were, like, you know, the Black Hawk was super fun and super cool. The attack helis were hard to use, but they were good to a certain extent. It just felt more like an actual battle, if you get what I'm saying. Like, every map felt like it was a large-scale event. Where in Battlefield, it feels much more like an actual first-person shooter, like an arcadey feel. So, I love Battlefield 3 because it's more of that, you know, FPS feel. But at the same reason, it's the reason I don't like it as much. So, that's just my opinions on that. That was an enormous rant. I apologize.
Say, yeah.
But, moving on to the next topic. Kempy's eager to talk about this. Dead Space 3. Have either of you guys played Dead Space 2?
I played Dead Space 1 and the game was too scary I didn't even finish it.
What a pussy.
I haven't even played it.
I got to level 3 and I was like, I turned that off. I haven't put it back in since. It's just too scary.
I had a friend who did the same thing. I remember we'd play it like at the same time, be close to the same level, and what would happen is, especially in Dead Space 2, he'd be playing it for a minute, and then all I would hear is, and then his Xbox would turn off, and like he leaves the party. It was just the funniest thing ever. And,
yeah, that's happened to me, man. I play like 10, 15 minutes. I'd be like, this ain't right. I'm taking this out.
This ain't right.
Something not right about this game. They got the scariness down to a pat, man. They're on par with
horror film, so I should probably enjoy it.
Kempy, did you actually play and beat 1 and 2?
Nah, I played the demo. I'm getting Dead Space 2 before it comes out, though.
What?
So you haven't even played it then?
Nah.
What a vag.
It's basically the same as me. I haven't played it at all.
It's a good thing Kempy doesn't live in the US, so you would not be able to buy this game. When it does come out.
I don't think you can buy it there either.
No, I don't think I can either.
I think it's one of those Peggy 18 games.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an 18.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it should be.
That's too funny. He
You have to get your mommy to buy it.
Before the podcast,
Yeah.
I really like to talk about Dead Space 3. The game's amazing. We get on the podcast. Well, I've never actually played it, but I'll play half the demo.
I played the demo,
Did he mention that too? He played half the demo. Then he quit. It was too scary.
It was too scared.
Dude, nothing happens in the demo.
Oh, still gonna get it.
My balls are too small size. It's very scary. It's made me put my pants.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
So yeah, Bryce can be kind of some bitches, so no Dead Space 3.
No Dead Space 3 here.
I'll get it.
Cam's gonna get it, but he's gonna play like the first level. Oh, I'm scared. My fetus.
You just know me too well.
So, moving on. One thing that I've definitely been looking forward to for about 4 years, it feels like, is another console. The next-gen console's coming out soon. We've got release dates looking more towards, I believe, Christmas, and then a little bit after Christmas for 2013. You know, so 2013, very early 2014.
I think they're overdue for a new one.
Very much so. Let's talk about that a little. What do you guys think about the current consoles and what next-gen consoles might bring in?
Hopefully, more of the abilities that the computers are able to do.
Definitely.
You know, bigger.
It should literally be a small computer. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be that.
So,
I reckon it'll get close to a top-end PC.
yeah, I think at the time of launch, it'll be about on par with a very high-end computer. I mean, I don't
Playing
know if you guys have
Battlefield
checked.
with 100 players or more.
No.
That's a bit
Yeah.
That would suck.
Why would that suck, playing Battlefield with 100 players?
64 is worse.
64 sucks, dude. Like 64. I played
Conquest,
64
yeah.
player like Metro. Do you know what 64 player like Metro is like? It's like, oh sweet, I got red. Oh damn. Oh sweet, I got. Oh damn. Oh sweet, I got red.
That happens
oh damn.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Now imagine that happening with 64 motherfuckers around you doing stupid shit. It's annoying.
I don't know. That's the classic Battlefield is
Try getting upside stairs
You
with
like
64
Battlefield
players
3
on
more
you.
than you like Bad Company 2. Don't tell me about classic Battlefield.
I played all the Battlefields except maybe one or two that I missed.
Fag. No,
I'm a Battlefield veteran.
I am too, man. Oh my god, Battlefield friends for life. Anyway, I definitely want to see the new consoles. And, you know, if you guys have checked out the specs a little bit, you'll see that they're pretty high end. I mean, they've got what is, I believe, the equivalent of a GTX 680 in the Xbox. And then in the PS3, there's an AMD, like, 7 something, which is apparently better than the GTX 680 now. So very high-end AMD processor, and AMD processor, graphics card, and a very high-end NVIDIA GTX 680. So I am psyched for both of those, but at the same time, I'm not looking forward to the price tag, I'll say that.
No.
Wonder if games are going to go up again. $10.
Yeah.
Because they went up from they go up from 50
I thought
down
it was
up
like,
to 60, and now they'll
Yeah.
probably go up to 70, right?
maybe more. But
Yeah.
it also depends. What I've heard is that the game or the consoles won't allow used game market to be active. If you get what I'm saying, like used games won't be playable.
Oh, is that because of the are you talking about those access cards?
Yeah, you'll be getting access codes for everything, won't you?
Yeah, the passcodes.
But what I've heard is it's a little bit more evasive than that. It's not like, you know, oh, you gotta, you know, get a code. It's sort of like, without saying it, it seems like they're implying... What the fuck? So, anyway, without saying it, it seems like they're implying that your game itself will only be playable on one Xbox Live account. And then, with that account, you sign in and they can then be authorized to play it on other Xboxes. So, like, imagine an online pass, but for the game itself.
Yeah.
The whole game.
Oh.
Or, I'm sure this will also be very popular, just downloadable games. You download them right to your Xbox, they're linked to your profile, so you can only use them with that profile. Basically, they're just trying to make it so all games are new, nothing is used. Something similar to Steam. If you guys are familiar with that.
They got you by the balls, man, I tell you. They got you by the balls.
Have you heard the rumor of their console they're making? Well, maybe.
Oh, the Steambox, right?
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about it. Do you know much?
Just that it'll have their own software sort of thing on it.
Nice.
It'll be like a mini computer.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about it being pretty powerful, and it looks like it's coming out about the same time. You look at the specs they've got in these things, and both of them look about on par with each other. But the thing that I don't like is that if one console's better than the other, then they kind of have to make games that work on both, so it might hold games back if one eventually gets more outdated than the other, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, I'm really hoping that, because to me right now it looks like the PS3 RAM-wise is going to get a little bit behind Xbox, which won't be good, because, you know, it'll hinder games in the future. So, who knows? But I'm certainly looking forward to the new consoles. Probably won't get them ASAP, but
I've just
Maybe they'll
forward
do
to
something
getting
at E3 this year.
I've just
I said
linked
maybe they'll release some information at E3 this year.
Yeah,
Coming up in a few months.
they probably will. That's a good point.
You know,
And
since you're saying that maybe Christmas 2013 or early 2014, so they might do something at E3.
Yeah, that's a good point. That might even officially
It was
sort
a
of
really
present
good
them.
Yeah.
That'd be really nice. Oh yeah, that Steambox thing.
Yeah.
Kemby just linked all of us to a picture of the supposed Steambox, and for the podcast viewers, I'll throw a picture of it up right now.
And that's the specs.
As you can see, it's really small. I mean, that's like the size of your palm, basically. It's small, and if something like that can be the equivalent, or more than the equivalent, of one of the next-gen consoles, I'd be extremely impressed. And if it's running on Steam, that'd make me even more excited. Do you guys know a lot about Steam besides Kempy?
I have a little bit of experience with it.
Yeah.
My
Well,
brother uses it a lot.
Well, for anyone who doesn't know out there,
same.
maybe in our audience, Steam is a computer-based software program / store, and what it does is it allows you to buy games sort of almost directly from the developer. And by that I mean near wholesale. Like, the deals you get on Steam are better than you get anywhere else because you're downloading the game directly from Steam. You know, there's no physical copy, so they don't have to charge you, for the amount it would take to get it to, some kind of store, and then you buying it from, get all these middlemen. So Steam offers much better deals than any store would on the same games. Battlefield 3 on console might have been $60 for 6 months. On Steam, it dropped to maybe $30 within 6 months, at least.
They always have really good deals on there too, like 50% off games.
Yeah. Then they offer, sometimes I believe they do it a Summer of Arcade thing, where it's just about, 1,000 or so, maybe even more, arcade-ish games that are a little bit under the radar. They sell them for like $1 a piece.
Yeah.
So you can get, a decent game for sure that, you might not have even heard about for $1. It benefits the developer because they're actually getting profit from the game when they might not have. And, saves you a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, Steam's a great idea, and having a console run on it might benefit the player a lot more than this next-gen console system for games would go.
I've linked just the page to see what the specs could be.
Alright. I'll check those out for sure. And I'll throw the link in the description so all of our viewers can check out the specifications as well. Might even put it up on the screen, a view of it.
Yeah.
So, moving on to our next topic, Grand Theft Auto 5. Oh my god. Grand Theft Auto 5. Oh my god.
This is close to your heart.
GTA. Oh, free roam. Yes. Steal that car. Steal it. I'm so looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 5. It's so cool.
I couldn't tell.
I haven't actually seen much on it.
Really?
Except a few videos from the marketplace, but that's about it.
I love it. And what I'll do is I'll link a few trailers, and if there is some way without somehow getting, I don't know, this podcast taken down from YouTube, I can put the video in the video. Then I'll try and do that. Try to show the trailers along with the podcast. But I'll definitely link them in the description either way.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool stuff. I will put some screenshots for Grand Theft Auto 5 on the viewer screen, so they'll be able to see those, because the game looks amazing. I mean, it is just an absolutely incredible looking game.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something to look forward to. What do you guys know about it?
Got a jet.
Scott a jet. Well,
Space
you heard
jet.
it from here, folks. That's the end of the podcast. It's got a jet.
It's a good thing.
Wesker,
Gee.
come on, man. You know a ton about this, right?
I know a few little bits here and there. I
Oh,
don't know a great deal
Bridge.
about gameplay-wise. But it does look promising. Very open. And very large, I imagine.
Yeah.
Hopefully the multiplayer's improved as well, because I didn't really enjoy the multiplayer from 4 that much.
What?
I didn't mind the free roaming, but in terms of deathmatch and that, I wasn't that keen.
I agree.
Yeah. But the free roaming was pretty cool, but it's looking promising, and it's pretty soon the release as well. I mean, some places are leaking it as in middle of March time. So
Nice.
I've just seen a poster saying spring.
Well, Kempy,
Yeah.
shut up.
Okay, sorry, my
Scott
bad.
jet.
well,
I
spring
just hope
starts.
they have to. I just hope you can still pick up hookers.
Wow. I like that. I just want to tell a
If
quick
they
story.
take that out of the game, I won't buy it.
Best
Nope.
thing ever I did in Grand Theft Auto 4. Campaign, you pick up hookers, you bring them into a really cool alley. This is awful. You bring them into an alley, and there's this one alley in Bohan where it had a bunch of bricks. And
Yeah.
what I would do is I'd take them in there, then, pay the max amount, and then they get out of the car. I run out of the car at the same time they do. I grab a brick and hit him in the back of the head with it in one hit, kill him. And there was nothing more satisfying than watching her go away like, "Thanks, sweetie," and then just be like, "Bam!" Just hit her in the upside of the head with a brick. And what I would do is my goal would be to see how many I could kill before the sun rose in the same alley
Wow.
with the same brick. So
Wow.
they'd be like, "Oh,
Impressive.
bam!" Then I just run out in the street, and I'm like, "You come with me now." It's like, "Hey, baby, you want to come with me? I've got the big Escalade and the brake." Oh, no, this is my brake. Hold on. So
I think everyone kills their hookers once they're done with them, because I used to just drive them into the river from the pole we did it in.
that's
The
awesome.
greatest part of it. I think that's what put Grand Theft Auto on the map.
Yeah, killing the hookers that you.
Killing hookers.
Yeah, but the best part about them too was if you paid them like the max amount, they drop like for some reason they drop like 5 times whatever you pay them. So if you paid them like the $20, like I think it was maybe a hand job or something. Jesus Christ, this is sad. Anyway, if you paid for the $20, I think it was $50 and $70 service. And if you paid it for $70, they drop like $300 and some dollars. If you paid for the $20, they drop like $100. So I'd always pay the max amount, and by the end of the night, I profited like $4,000, and I've killed 12 people in an alley.
Yeah, cleaned up the streets a bit.
Exactly. That's illegal shit right there. They can't just run around doing that.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, driving them into the river in the car you've done it gets rid of the evidence and the body.
Indeed, until it gets found.
They get 5 stars.
Till you figure out you've lost your car and you need to-
Yeah.
That's right, there's plenty around.
Oh yeah, I forgot it's GTA.
Oh my goodness. Grand Theft Auto is an amazing game. So looking forward to that. But another Battlefield related topic that I forgot to mention. Well, as you guys know, we're gonna get a new patch when Endgame comes out, because we always do. That's when we get patches.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm gonna say what I'd like to see in the next patch, and you guys go ahead and think for a second, because I've had this in mind. So real quick, go ahead and think of what you guys might want to see in the next patch, and like see added, and then see removed, such as like balancing wise. For me, what I want to see added is I definitely want to see the PDWs and shotguns become more effective. Shotguns, I just want to see some increased range, and the PDWs, I want to see some increased damage. Because right now, I feel as both of them, both of those classes of weapons, I guess, are damn near useless. I mean, how do you guys feel about it? It seems like they're pretty worthless.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that last night. You know, it's you never see people really using them, hardly ever, except on a small, close quarters map. But otherwise, they're pretty useless on any large map.
Yeah. I think if they're just worthless.
Especially
altogether,
PDWs,
really.
they need a definite buff, because, they need
Yeah.
improving. Because you can use them on all classes, and they should be a reasonable gun to use. But at the moment, I can't seem to just use them, really.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like they got too many guns in the game.
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like they got so many guns that, like, there's just guns that out there that are just completely useless that nobody ever uses or wants to use except one or two people. And I think if they cut down on the amount of guns that they have in the game, they'd be able to make them of a better quality and, make each gun, you can see unique differences in each gun instead of seeing like, all right, these guns are exactly the same. It's just they look different, so to speak. Aaron, you know what
actually, I mean? Pug, you're wrong. The rate of fire was 5 rounds per minute difference. So shut up. No, I totally get what you're saying though, and I agree. I think they've made a lot of guns, and the one way you can tell is almost every gun has the exact same damage model, like as the others in its class.
Yeah. If they had like 1 or 2 assault rifles, or maybe not 1 or 2, like let's say like 3 or 4 assault rifles, 3 or 4 machine guns, 3 or 4 snipers. This way, when you pick up a different gun or you use a different one, you can see a clear-cut difference between the two, instead of feeling like you just got another assault rifle that's a run-of-the-mill, and then you got the ones that you just never touch because they suck. They got nothing there. You can't use them.
Yeah, they don't serve much of a purpose.
No, and it's like I would rather see more quality and less quantity than they seem to have went with the quantity factor. It seems like half the submachine guns are useless, half the shotguns are useless, if not more.
Slug.
Yeah, and also the shotguns. Seems like they're overpowered with slugs, but they're super underpowered with everything else.
Yeah,
buckshot. Yeah, 10 meters or more with buckshot, you might as well waste a whole clip. And then some pistol ammo too.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to see some customization. Maybe not, obviously not in Battlefield 3, but in the next one, it'd be cool to see some customization. Putting different armors on, like almost like a Rainbow Six type of thing. You can put like, heavy body armor on your chest and leave none off your arms, something like that.
See,
I'll customize a soldier. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more customization in the soldier.
I like appearance customization, but I wouldn't want it to have any actual effect, because then it just gets too intricate. You start to make the game. I mean, you give better players and people who invest more time the option to figure out the best possible combinations. The more combinations you add, the more likely that there's a winning combination, and the more difficult it becomes to find. So the better players and the players who play more, I feel like they'll benefit from that kind of addition. But I feel like somebody who just hops on and likes to play, they'd really, it might be hard to kind of enjoy it when it gets to that level of detail. So I remember jumping into Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Vegas 2, and I didn't play much, of the first one, but the second one, I got my ass handed to me. I sucked, and I didn't enjoy it as much because, when I got on the game, it was, probably a year after it came out. So playing against a level 99 elite every time I fucking get on, and all of them just, for some reason, it's like the only game they ever decided to play. That didn't help. But also the fact that they had better guns, they had all these super intricate combinations that I wouldn't have even thought of, and then they had all their body armor laid out in this super weird way. I just couldn't keep up a lot of the time. And the fact that the fucking cover system, but that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a whole different topic. I'd just like to see a little bit more soldier customization and some better guns.
Yeah, I'd like to see definitely more weapon customization. But I definitely want to see some appearance changes. That's what I want to see more than anything.
Such as?
I'd like more sights. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there's only 3 or 4 sights you can actually use for like each type of weapon.
Yeah.
So like for the LMGs and the assault rifles, all you can really use is Cobra, a reflex, or a hollow sight.
Or a 3.4.
That's only for bipoded.
That's only if you're fucking using an AN-94 and you're Westwood and have no friends.
Yep.
But
That thing's a 3.4.
what?
That thing's a beast with 3.4.
That was so British. What?
The AN-94 with 3.4 is very good.
Oh. Thank you. I understand now. Thank you. Well, but yeah, I mean, but you know what I mean. Most of the sites, they all are pretty much the same. And
yeah, but what else do you want? I mean, what sort of magnification?
I like to be able to change the sight.
All right.
Like I'd be able. I know it sounds a little too detailed, perhaps, but I'd like to be able to make my own sight. Like, sort of, kind of how you make an emblem or something like that. I'd like to make a sight. Like, choose the frame, and then choose the size of the frame, the shape of the frame, then go into the sight and change what the sight looks like. You know, if I just want a dot, I want a circle and a dot, I want a circle and a line, a circle and 2 lines, a triangle and a dot, just an X.
Kind of like Call of Duty Black Ops, then, right?
Sort of, but I want more useful choices than that. Like I kind of want to make it rather than because I mean,
smiley face.
There's nothing better than having my sight be a fucking dick, but I like to have one that I can actually use. Like Call of Duties are all fucking stupid. Like anything revolving Black Ops, because you could customize it so much, it was pretty much a penis. It's like, oh, look at that guy. He just teabagged me, and his emblem, guess what? It's a gorilla fucking a horse. How many times do I have to see that? Or the other way around, So, that was just stupid, but I'd like a sight that is actually useful, but I can customize it,
Yeah.
Like the holographic sight, something similar to that would be my preference, but making the sight itself smaller, and then also having more zoom. Because it's a 1.5 times zoom on a hollow sight, and a reflex and all those are just 1 time zoom. So the holographic has more zoom, and I like that, but the sight is too big.
Oh.
Like the actual holographic part of the sight, I just don't like.
Yeah, I'm
So.
That'd be cool to experiment with.
Yeah, just to play around with it, and then, possibly a lot more camos than 2 each, and they're not even for all the guns. Like, fucking come on. Who adds camos for 1 gun in a class, when obviously you can add them for every gun? Like, I don't see why they don't add the woodland tactical camo for all the assault rifles, or whatever.
That's what I was saying before. I feel like they got just too many guns in this game. And I rather would see 5 or 6 guns, or 4 or 5 guns a class.
No,
but a lot of customization.
Don't give them ideas.
Huh?
I don't want to see 4 or 5 guns. Come on now.
No, it's more than that. Yeah. But I mean by the customization, the assignment should be more for classes, not for specific guns in that class. You should be able to unlock a camo for a class and then use it within that class.
Yeah. It's perfect. And although, Bryce, I totally get where you're coming from on the less guns, basically what you want is
2 guns.
Reduced quantity, increased quality.
Right.
And I agree with that to a certain extent. What I want to see is a really, really good mix of both. Where I don't mind, they don't need to throw in 20 guns in each class, but I'd like to see about 10. I'd like to have 10 choices in each class. That's my ideal setup. Except Recon, maybe 6. But I feel like there's enough carbines, assault rifles, and LMGs out there that, you could throw 50 in each class that are fairly different weapons. Well, okay, maybe 20 in each class that are very different weapons. So the fact that they can barely squeeze 8 out of each class, it's a little irritating, you know. I mean, the biggest way they vary up guns in Battlefield 2 is they don't alter the damage, really. It's accuracy, recoil, fire rate. So, you know, it just feels like there's a market for altering the damage just, a slight bit based on the weapon's bullet velocity. That would make the most sense. If the bullet velocity is lower, it's going to have a little bit less damage, depending on the size of the round. So, I don't know.
Well, see, that's a lot of work to do for 10 plus guns, but if you had 4 or 5 plus guns, you could do it. It would be reasonable, it'd be possible, and they could
Dude, you know how long
that
take? That's just math. They made an entire fucking game. Their map is the size of fucking Texas. I should at least be able to count on them to do math.
I hope so.
I hope so. I'm just saying, with the detail in Battlefield 3, you figure that they wouldn't skip out on the little details, Like, they've got immense amount of detail in some areas, and then they just kind of skip over the obvious stuff, So, it's a little disappointing at some points. But I'd like to see a vast amount of guns, but still keep all the detail.
I'd like to see stocks will help your accuracy.
Yeah.
Like in Medal of Honor.
Yeah. That's actually a really good idea. Stocks that, alter mobility, accuracy, maybe recoil and stuff like that. That'd be nice.
Or different type of bullet sort of thing. That's sort of going in depth, though.
Yeah. I completely agree. So, Kempy, seeing as how you've played a lot of PC, especially recently, now that you got Battlefield 3 on the PC, you've heard of Planetside 2, right?
Yep.
Have you ever played it?
Yeah, I've played it. I've got it.
Well, Westwood, Pug, have you guys ever heard of Planetside 2 at all? Played it or anything like that?
Not really.
I haven't heard of it, no.
Alright, well, Kemp, do you mind talking about that a little? Because I know a little bit about it, and I think it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, sure. Basically, three factions. One's like an alien sort of race, one's rebels, and one's a military sort of thing. And basically, you're fighting over a massive open world sort of thing. It's got around about 50, maybe 25 big bases you need to capture.
Wow.
And for each base you capture, you get certain bonuses. So for every time you get that, I think it's 10 minutes or so, you get plus 30 to go buy a heli or something. So that adds up and adds up. But the thing is, all over the world. So there's servers for Europe, America, and you go off and then you come back and the game's basically changed into a new one.
So it's a continuous server type thing, right?
Yep.
So, from my understanding is that you get into a game, and then, it's sort of like, you usually play on the same server over and over again. And what you'll do is you'll get into a server, you'll play, you'll do your thing, you'll try and get as close as you can to winning the game. And then, when you gotta get off, you leave, but the game's still going whether you're there or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like once everybody leaves or once the round ends. This is like a game that takes hours and hours. How long do the games last?
I think it's continuous.
So they never end, really?
Yeah.
So, even like that, it's just a game where you hop in. There's no winning or losing, and apparently, you just get in, you start playing.
Yeah.
How long do you find yourself playing for?
I don't know. All depends how long you get addicted for. Because you could get into a massive, all three sort of teams fighting against each other for just one base. And basically it takes, 45 minutes nearly, usually.
Wow.
If that's a big, massive one.
And from what I've seen of the trailer, the gameplay looks pretty similar to Halo. Is that a fair assumption?
I think it's a mixture. You have the cloaking like you did in Halo Reach and stuff. Jetpack sort of thing you did. And armor shields. It's similar.
So you get
Subsets.
specializations from like Halo.
Yeah, for like different classes.
Nice.
There's heavy, where you have like armor shield sort of thing, what holds up for like 10 seconds or so. There's an infiltrator, what cloaks, but you can't shoot whilst you're cloaked. So like you have to
Nice.
uncloak and then shoot, then cloak back up.
Yeah, that sounds sweet. So they've got like a bunch of different kind of ways to mix it up, and kind of like the kit system in Battlefield to a certain extent. Different
Yeah.
roles. Nice.
I'd say it's a bit more balanced though. There's no outstanding things.
Nice.
It's like a game you have to get good at yourself.
So, what is it, Bryce? I think we were talking a little bit about this before. You were comparing it to like Mag a little bit, right? Just off
Yeah.
of what you heard.
Yeah, from what I'm reading about it seems like if you ever played Mag on the PS3, it's there's like 3 different, you play as either Europe, Russia or China, and then America, and it's just those 3 factions that you play as and you pick, and then you're stuck with that faction, and you wage war against other factions. And it seems a lot like that, where you're either what were you saying, Kempi? The rebels, army, U.S. military, or something like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like you'll pick a faction and then you'll fight for that side, and it looks pretty neat.
And Mag is. What were the games like on Mag? Was that like a continuous thing, or did it vary up a bit?
It was actually like you could have like 252 player games up on that, and then
That must have looked like shit.
but it did. It looked terrible. But the thing was, is like if you logged off and then you came back on, if your team had captured or like won a few games, when you played next, you would have bonuses because they won. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah.
So
like,
with this server thing, like, it wasn't continuous games, but it was sort of like, you know, you won this round, and then it just immediately starts another round on the same server.
yeah, and then like if you keep winning games like that, you'll get more XP. You'll get double XP. First, the other faction won't until they start winning again, and then they'll get
Nice.
bonuses. So
I like
it
the
seems a
idea
lot
of
like that.
Like, see, implementing something like similar to those games in the next, titles for the next Xbox, which we'll talk a little bit about in just a minute. That'd be really cool. You know, seeing a game where it's almost a continuous thing. I think it kind of brings a level of dedication to it. You know, where it's like you're invested in your team. You know,
Yeah.
let's
Versus
say
like when you just play Battlefield 3, you win the Metro round, you just win the Metro round. But what if you were to capture the Metro round, and then that stayed yours until it was won back? You know what I mean? It's almost like a battlefield, like almost like a real life battlefield where you hold ground, you win ground, you hold it until you lose it, and then you take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think a level of dedication would be a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would just sort of bring an investment in what you do. You know, it would give you sort of a permanent stake in the actions you take. I think it also encouraged more people to play for the win, too, because there's no winning. So, kind of no matter what you do, in order to do well, you kind of need to play for the objective. And if you do help the team, it sort of has a more positive impact on the game. From what I've seen from a little bit of Planetside 2, can be pretty much everybody's in it to win.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's in it to kind of just do as much work as possible and get it done.
Yeah, you can't really lone wolf it like you can usually, like in Battlefield or any other COD or something, whatever you play.
Yeah. So.
Kempi, does it look good? Does it
Yeah.
look nice? It looks nice.
Yep.
Nice.
That's
I
good.
mean, I'd like to see games like that in the future, and I think a lot of people would. Westwood, what do you think?
Yeah, it looks pretty promising, especially because it's free as well, as we said earlier.
The free-to-play model is a nice one. You know, it's like you either invest a lot of time or invest a little bit of money.
Yeah. And
it's
the
like,
idea of it being sort of continuous, and you can go in for a few hours here and then come back another day and go in again, and you'll still be playing same sort of strategy on the same map, fighting for the same bases.
Yeah. The thing I don't like is that it takes so long to get new guns because you don't unlock them. You have to buy them out. Like when you kill someone, you get like a certification point where you can upgrade your player and everything to unlock new stuff. But to get new guns, it takes like 1,000.
Oh,
but
okay.
you just don't have the time. So like you can buy like station cash, so you can like get them a lot quicker. But I just don't see
how they
the
make their
point.
money then.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a membership as well, like premium.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the free to play model is something that would kind of be interesting to see on consoles. It'd be hard to kind of add, but it might be interesting. I think they've done it with a few arcade games like Blacklight. You guys have ever heard of that?
Is that yeah, I've heard of that one.
Blacklight Tango Down, I believe was the name of it. And it was an arcade game that I think was either free or very cheap or something like that. And I don't know if Tango Down was the same exact way, but I do know they made a sequel to Tango Down called Retribution, which is a free-to-play PC version, and that is a free-to-play game. And to unlock guns, you either, spend 50 hours unlocking a gun that you may or may not like, or you can spend $5 and unlock it that instant.
Yeah.
So, that'd be something cool to add. Bryce, I'm sure you've heard of this a little bit. The U.S. Congress thing being like a little overbearing on the gun laws and a bunch of BS like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Kempe and Westwood, you guys might not know too well, but Congress and your parliament are very similar. So what our Congress has done so far since the recent shooting in Connecticut, they're trying to find out what may cause incidents like this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So they're starting to look into violent video games, other types of media, and gun control. So all over the United States, there's been absolutely tons of, gun riots and games have come under heavy fire, violent games. So it's a little strange that, I'm sure to us it sounds pretty crazy that, playing Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3 Black Ops would make you want to go kill a bunch of people. That just sounds stupid. But apparently Congress thinks it's a big deal, and Barack Obama has actually told Congress to put aside $10 million into finding if there's a connection between violent games and some sort of apparently psychopathic tendencies. They could just give me like $9 million and I could tell them no.
Exactly.
I mean, violent games, what do you guys think? Does it have any effect, really?
I mean, you just said it in a nutshell. There is no correlation between going out and committing the crimes that we saw all across the news, across the world, and playing a video game. The normal person that sits there and plays a video game will not go out and reproduce what that person did in that school. End of.
Yeah, there's been studies already done about that, and there's no correlation.
There is no direct correlation
Just
at
mentally.
all.
Whoever does that is just mentally wrong.
What it is, it's a bunch of politicians taking advantage of a tragedy and using it for their own, to impose their own will against the people. In my mind.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, look at this, a tragedy. Let's use this to make new laws that we want to see happen. When in fact there's nothing there to suggest it, and the way the media plays it up and everything else, it's all people buy it too. They're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We shouldn't have violent video games, but
Yeah, and it just seems like they're trumping up games to be this extremely evil source of violence that just doesn't make enough sense,
Yeah.
And the fact that they're not going after movies as hard as they're going after games angers me a little bit. Because
Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies and
exactly
all those.
So and you've got all these scary movies and stuff where it's, Final Destination, for example, that movie is about somebody didn't die. So now we're going to watch an hour-long movie on how they're going to slowly die a terrible, inconvenient death.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just, baseless violence that really doesn't even have any story or anything. I mean, it's just like games, if not worse. And it's more frequent, too. So, I mean, you've got crazy stories recently, too. Like, what is it? I just read that there was a town in Connecticut, Southington, I think is the name, and they were offering $25 gift certificates for anyone who turned in a violent video game, so they could then destroy it. That's
Really?
just ridiculous.
That's stupid.
It's really stupid, and most of all, I wish it would have happened in my city. I could have got a lot of money.
Yeah, get rid of small games.
Modern Warfare 2, broken? Sure, take it. You don't know the difference. You're clearly 70 years old. You don't know what a video game is.
They've just got to make. There has to be they had to have rules on what games they could take. Otherwise, they would have lost loads.
Well, they canceled it, so clearly they didn't have much intelligence to begin with. They probably were just going to take anything, but who knows? They were full of it, It was their way of trying to... They said bring awareness. It was their way to gain attention and act like they cared without actually doing anything, sadly. So, just... it angers me. That's stuff so silly and that theories can get this far.
It's all media driven in my mind. It's all blown out of proportion.
Exactly.
Yeah, it got a lot of coverage, didn't it, across the world, media-wise.
You know what? When something like that happens, it's people want answers and they want to know why. So people come out with all these crazy ideas. Okay, this is why it happened. Video games. This is why it happened.
Yeah.
Movies.
Porn.
This is why it happened. But what? Whoever said that, what was that, Mike? Did you just say porn?
Yeah.
Yeah, not for nothing though. Like when something like that happens, people are so susceptible to being brainwashed and mind controlled that you could say anything, and people, if it's played the right way and it's said, over and over and it's said the right way, people will start to believe it.
Yeah, we get pressurized into doing stuff for it.
Yeah.
Acting on it.
Yeah, and it's when after an incident like that, people want answers, and the politicians in the Congress and all those political figures give them their own agendas to why it did happen. And one of them was, Obama thinks it's video games in New York, and they think it's high capacity magazines. It's and assault rifles.
Yeah, and I mean, this might be a little bit of a rough comparison, but I mean, Hitler, So, it's a rough comparison, but, downtimes, tragedies, things very similar to this, open the door for politicians who are very charismatic to try and force their opinions into the minds of people who don't really know what to think,
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
It's like, people are sad, they're upset, they're scared, they're worried, nervous, aggravated, agitated by, the shootings, the violence. People are getting tired of it. And, somebody who's charismatic enough can put the right spin on it, like Bryce said. They can pretty much morph people's opinion to favor their viewpoints. And that can lead to some pretty dangerous calls.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the smartest things anyone has ever done is, I think it was Roosevelt. Not the first Roosevelt, the second Roosevelt. That was I can't remember his first name. Elected in 32?
Yeah.
1932. Anyway, Delano, something Delano Roosevelt. Anyway, when the banks were collapsing in the U.S., we had the Great Depression, and it kind of spread all over the world, because one country goes under, and it's big enough, and the stakes there are big enough, it affects the entire world around it. So what he did is he put a froze to banks for like a good month to assess the situation. And what he did was damn it, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Westwood's dropping. Alright, I'll go on for a second anyway. What he did is he put a month-long freeze on banks to stop, irrational people from taking all their money out and bankrupting banks, so that way, stuff could get done properly.
Mm-hmm.
So the point of it is when people have all these mixed emotions on stuff, they make irrational decisions, and because of that, other people suffer.
Yeah.
You got all these banks going bankrupt and stuff like that because, people are making stupid decisions. And that's kind of how it's happened all through history. Somebody who's charismatic enough can, cause something to happen that maybe shouldn't, or people who are worried enough make poor enough decisions. So, it's a little aggravating, but stuff like that's happened
very
for a
aggravating.
long time. Yeah.
Because it's a bunch of people who don't know anything are just believe everything that they're told right away, and then, even though it has nothing to do with the actual event. Everybody's getting mad at video games or assault weapons when nobody got mad at the guy who actually did it.
That's a good point. Nobody knows his name. But you know what? They know how much we're spending to get rid of video games.
Yeah. It's sad. It really is sad that's how it works.
Yeah. I guess it is a good thing we don't know his name. Nobody wants that. But still, you don't want to give him any type of credit or any BS like that.
Oh, no.
So, he's worthless. Yeah. He's by definition worthless human being.
Yeah. Was that Westwood?
I think Westwood's chiming in and out. Yeah. What? Oh, can you hear me? Oh, I'm so British.
What's happening?
What's happening? Kevin, you just did it so well. What's happening? So,
but I'm British, I should do.
We're going to wrap the podcast up here in just a minute. But last I wanted to talk about some of the big upcoming news for Microsoft and Xbox coming up in 2013, the very, very near future.
What the hell is that?
Really? What's happening? What's happening?
Somebody, please help me.
Oh. Yeah, he's just dropped. I'll call him back. So wrap the podcast up with a few new details about Xbox information. Number one is the next generation Xbox console is looking to be announced at a special event 1 month or less prior to E3 in June. The broadcast will happen live on Xbox and the internet somewhere, assuming Xbox.com and a few other places. Microsoft is also going to make what I think is actually a smart move, just kind of a cool way to do it. They're just going to name it the Xbox. It is.
Oh, yeah?
Its name is Xbox.
Oh.
Westwood,
No,
your internet is booty. We mentioned earlier that we weren't necessarily sure about the price, or that the price was a little bit skeptical. The price, $400 for the full version. The most upgraded version, perhaps, like the Pro or the Elite, and $350 for a more basic, smaller storage version. It will be released in November. That's some fairly accurate information.
Yeah.
There will be a new game released by Bungie. They created Halo. Called Destiny. And it is kind of similar to Halo. The story's very elaborate. I'll throw some links in the description to some articles about it. A video or trailer or something like that. So Destiny, that's going to be their flagship title. So the Xbox 360 and new Xbox versions, and this excites me, will both be capable of playing the new game Destiny. They will be cross-compatible.
Oh, cool.
So the reason that's exciting to me is because that means that it's possible for other games too. Because when it came to like PS3 and PS2, nothing was cross-compatible. And Xbox, very little was compatible between the two. So the chance that I might not have to buy an Xbox, the Xbox, as soon as it comes out is nice, you know? Being able to play maybe Battlefield 4 on the old Xbox and the new Xbox once I decide to get it, kind of thing.
Mm.
There's a few games that you could do with the Xbox and the Xbox 360.
I think
Yeah,
there may
it was
be
when it first
a
came
problem
out,
with
you know.
that, though.
Yeah, there was a few games that were like that. I think Splinter Cell was one of them that I played.
Mm-hmm.
There
That
could be a
worked out
problem
well.
with that, though. If you buy, like, the old new one and have Battlefield 4 on that as well. 'Cause the newer one will have an advantage because it have more frames per second,
Yeah,
better
exactly.
graphics, they'll be able to see you a lot better.
Yeah. So, hopefully there won't be too big of a difference, but maybe some original games for the new Xbox will be somewhat playable on the Xbox 360. Maybe sort of a downgraded version, perhaps. And then there will be Kinect 2.0, which is looking to be standard in the new Xbox. And their goal is to make it more usable for the hardcore gamer, such as us, really. So, playing Battlefield 3 and being able to reload by just, kind of moving your wrist or something like that would kind of be nice. Who knows? Maybe you could play the entire thing by just kind of moving your hands the right way.
Yeah.
But,
That
I
would
don't
be
know.
neat.
Like, perhaps if it was really high-end enough, you could end up, like, Westwood is so laggy. So being able to do, like, a spot assist by nudging your head up a little bit or, just kind of shrugging your shoulder, adding some features that'd be useful for the game into the actual site might be kind of cool. So with that information, that's pretty much the end of our podcast. For all who've listened this far in, I appreciate it. Obviously, we're going to be having more frequent podcasts up in the future. They'll be more organized, and we'll be releasing them as often as we can. Our goal is to release them whenever there's some new gaming information out, and although we're a Battlefield team, and we love Battlefield and the competitive FPS scene, this is a gaming podcast, so we'll be going over a lot of things involving gaming and occasionally even some current events and stuff. So, I want to thank Ben here. I want to thank Bryce, and although Westwood has been having some connection problems and actually dropped from the call, I still want to give a big thanks to Westwood. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for listening. This is the Reprimanded Podcast, Episode 3. All right.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yep.
Bye-bye.